none of it works under a fiat money standard. And the way this is all playing out now, the way this is becoming visible is through inflation. You can't really get anything done with it unless you have sound money. So, I mean, Elizabeth Warren has an agenda, and even AOC has an agenda, and some of those ideas are worth considering. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have more hardcore conservatives who have ideas that are worth considering, but none of them are worth considering in a fiat money world. None of them. So on the right, every war that they put forward is based on fiat money. And on the left, every program they want to put forward is based on fiat money. None of it works under a fiat money standard. And the way this is all playing out now, the way this is becoming visible is through inflation. So the inflation genie has come out of the bottle. And they've kept it hidden now for decades, really since going back to 1971. But now the game is up. Now there's really no way to hide the inflation anymore. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on everybody. Everyone's constituency, every jurisdiction in America is going to start feeling the pressures of inflation. And the central bank will be pretending it doesn't exist. And that's going to cause a revolution. No taxation without representation. Inflation is a tax. You know, America started a revolutionary war over a, $12 tea tax. Tell us what we're going to do now that you're going to add on to already the tax of Obamacare is a corporate tax written by corporations that's enforced by the federal government. Think about that. At some point, Americans are just going to say, basta, fuck you.
I also think once you've been orange pilled, once you're a Bitcoiner, it's really ever hard to ever take politics seriously again. I think they look really goofy. Whenever we travel and we're in a hotel room and there's a TV, we'll tune in to the cable news and laugh our ass off. Like, it's so funny, these dorks who think they have any control over the markets, over the population, over anything, that the cycles of history, that the cycles of business and monetary reality that these stupid individual little humans could ever stand up to that. It just seems like ridiculous that they think they matter to my life, to your life, or any of our lives. It's just ridiculous. And I think more and more people are starting to see that, especially because of COVID, where they feel the worst of their narcissism comes into effect, where they're going to take care of everything and everybody stay home and have all of this free money, and throwing so much free money that it's just even Max and I, who have been making programs about this for the past 18 years, it shocks us how much money has been printed. All the stuff we forecasted is actually coming true. But it's changing the mindset. Once you change the mindset of a population, there's no going back. It's not only become inflationary, but they're demanding UBI. They're demanding all their student debts get written off. They're demanding never to have to pay rent again. And Berlin, they're seizing, they want to seize the properties and give free rent to everybody. So there's a total shift in mindset of the population. Where it goes, we don't know. But I think there's a clash. There's definitely seems to be two different groups. There's the sort of person who's a Bitcoiner, and there's a sort of person who's an MMT, free money for all, that sort of person. So I think it'll be a definite ideological clash, probably the sort that we saw in the late 1800s, from the mid to late 1800s through 1940s in Europe. There were huge ideological clashes between various thinkers and people across Europe. And it played out in many different wars, many different conflicts, many different, treaties needed and stuff like that. But I think we're going to have a similar situation now.
I think that's the really great point, that there will be people who they still want to live in the old system, almost like the loyalists to the old system. And then you have these new people. But whenever you have these big movements that occur, and one is very clearly the future and one is not, we always know how this stuff turns out. Do you two think that we could have a monetary declaration of independence in the United States, similar to how we bucked, the British, and why we left the church, a separation of church and state? Do you think we could have a separation of money and state?
Well, in the U.S., you have various checks and balances. So it's designed to avoid concentration of power. And one of the checks and balances is the states. So the states have a lot of power. You don't see this in Europe, for example, or really anywhere else. And I think we're going to see a clash between states like Texas, Wyoming, who are really going down the freedom and Bitcoin path. And that could lead to a civil war. I think instead of saying, like, is this going to be a revolutionary war, I think more likely it would be a civil war. I think Texas might want to secede. And because they're getting an influx of people from California now and New York, and they may and they have pressure on their southern border, so they may just I think the more likely outcome would be a civil war.
I think that yes, there has been a separation of money and state, and that happened on January 3rd, 2009, and there's no going back. So that happened, and all the stuff we're seeing now, and the 12 years to now, and the decades ahead of us is all a way to deal with that. In terms of like how this unfolds, think about it. Communism fell how many, 30 years ago, 35 years ago? There are still people living in those former Eastern Bloc states who long for those days, who want to be back there, who want to have the state just provide the housing and the water and the electricity and stuff like that, and a job to go to at the factory, no matter how bland and routine it was. And there will be people who want the state to continue printing the money, continue sending them Biden bucks or Trump dollars or whatever it was. They will not want to, because it's hard. It's not like I said, it's like a journey. Like, it's not, it feels amazing once you get there to the mountaintop of Bitcoin, but that journey is difficult, right? It's not like to give up. It's not even like a process of actively having to give up things. When you gain this knowledge, you have to shed all of these delusions that you had for your whole life in this 50 years of fiat.